Welcome to the More Podcast, M-O-R-E exclamation point. Welcome to our podcast where we want more of Him. We want all that God has for us. We're not just satisfied going to church on Sunday. We want more.
We don't claim to be biblical scholars. We're just two best friends inviting you on our journey as we share stories of how God moves in our everyday lives, the lives of others, and the lives of those in the Bible. We're excited you're here. 3, 2, and 1.
Welcome, more podcasters. We are so glad you are here today. As Darlene chokes.
Got a little froggy in my throat today. And as it is the season, so at the point that we bow our heads to pray, I expect there to be a coughing fit that will ensue. So if I step off camera,
or off mic.
Then you will know, because you'll be like, where is that voice that I hear?
I think they know it by now. If it's not you, it's me.
I'm telling you. So we're piggybacking. I think I just made up a whole word. We are following up with a discussion that started last week with our guest, Veronica. I call her Ronnie. Ronnie Good Hair Anderson. And you have to listen to the podcast with Ronnie on it with Veronica to know that reference and that inside joke. But a lot of her testimony was talking about God's timing.
I so enjoyed talking to her.
It was
she just so precious? Fun, and I learned a lot, and she was just, I don't know, just so anointed, but yet she was so open with us.
Yes.
We laughed, we cried, we did all the things. I really enjoyed having her on here with us, so we're definitely going to have her back.
She is someone who is just so special. And
she was talking about different seasons of her life and how, there were unexpected seasons of when God called them into ministry. There was unexpected seasons of sickness in her life, of health scares.
Right.
And then she talked about what she did during the waiting. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're talking about today, is how God's timing is not our timing.
Right.
And a lot of times, we know that He has all things worked out for our good, for His good, for the glory of God. And a lot of times things happen in our lives that we don't know why. He doesn't reveal to us in that moment.
Right.
He thinks that He's got it taken care of and we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
He don't have to share the details with us, and He's exactly right.
Right, exactly. So, he can choose or share the details. He may not share the details.
Right.
I think when you reached out and you said, hey, let's do a little bit deeper dive. Let's talk about God's timing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that came to my mind is, if you're tired, if you're in a season of your life where you have prayed, you have asked God, you have spent time, you have gone to your friends, to your prayer warriors, and you've asked and you've asked and you've asked, and you don't feel like God is answering. And so you're just about at that step of, well, I'm just going to take matters into my own hands.
Because we have our own deadline.
Because we have our own deadline. We have
God to go by our deadline. Yeah.
This podcast is for you, because we can share with you lots of biblical examples of people who did not trust in God's timing.
Right.
And when they took matters into their own hands, it ended up going a whole lot more worse than if they had just been patient and trusted in God. But we're not as a society, we're not in this current world that we live in. We are trained to be impatient, even down to our phone.
Yes.
If you send somebody a text message, if I were to send Jennifer a text message right now, and I would be like, well, why isn't she answering me? I know she's got her phone. I know. And then you see those little dots appear, so the person is typing something. You're like, why aren't they answering? Why aren't they right? So we're trained that way. We've got microwaves in our house. We've got DoorDash. We've got Google search.
Right.
If our pizza, mercy help us if our pizza isn't done in the 30 minutes that it promises us.
And, used to you had to plant your crops, wait for them to grow, then harvest them.
Exactly.
Before you could get your food. Now we just want it immediately DoorDash to us, like you said.
We want to be able to get on an app, order it ahead of time, pull up in the drive-thru, give them a number, have them pass the food through, and again, we are as a society, we are being trained to be impatient, and we're just not good at waiting.
And even a couple more things, like even when we made a telephone call, it would be busy.
Oh.
if somebody was talking, you'd have to wait for somebody to get through talking to the person they were talking to. And I remember, you'd call back every few seconds. It's still busy. It's still busy. It's still busy. And then you'd go to the operator. Can you see if they're actually talking or if the phone's off the hook? Do you remember doing that?
Gunner is looking at us.
Yes.
Gunner's looking at us. So that was an hour.
You could actually pick up the phone, dial 0 Gunner, and somebody would answer on the other line, and you'd say, "Can you check and see if it's off the hook or if they're talking?" And they would do that for you.
The reality of Andy Griffith when they would pick up the phone and somebody else was talking, the two sisters were talking, and they're like, "Oh no, they spend Sunday afternoon doing their talking." And there's a preacher in town. I mean, that's like real, and that was back in the 50s and the 60s.
Could you imagine Gunner having to order something from the Sears magazine and waiting for it to come?
Oh yeah. 2 weeks, 4 weeks.
It's not like Amazon.
6 weeks. Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. You will pay to have that shipped to you in less than, and I am victim to that, right? I mean, we do that. And the challenge with that, though, is that whenever we put our timing into God's hands and we're expecting God to be on our timing. Right. And so the purpose of today's is to share not only some biblical examples, and we'll get into some examples of those who waited and what waiting well looks like. Right. And we're also going to ask Gunner to share a little bit of his testimony today about
which we just 2 seconds ago asked Gunner.
But what we have found with Gunner is that Gunner will he's like, yeah, whatever. He is the most flexible, the most easygoing producer ever, which is good because you can imagine Sissy and I can be a hot mess to deal with, which reminds me, if you're just now listening to the More podcast, you're coming in at episode, what are we in the 70s now? 80s?
This is 88.
Number 88. If you're starting with number 88 and you didn't start all the way back with number 1, this annoying voice that you will hear ad nauseum in your sleep. I'm Delene, and with me is
I'm Jennifer, or
AKA
Sissy.
Sissy. We will get into that. We call her Sissy half the time, and then the infamous producer Gunner.
Yeah,
he prefers to produce.
Yes, he does.
But we can't always go along with that.
We just pull him right back in. So,
everywhere I go, talking about Gunner, and I mentioned this last week, everywhere I go, people are like, Gunner's so funny. And I'm like,
I don't know. I really don't know. I barely
he is
talk
so funny.
Gunner's so
I'm like, yes, he is funny.
I think that's it, because when you do chime in, it's like, thank goodness those women had to take a breath. Delene had a coughing fit. Gunner had to step in. But,
I just love Gunner. He's so funny.
Gunner, and he is. And let me tell you something. Let's talk about how special. So Gunner had a big announcement, and I'm going to say, okay, so in the front of my little pink Bible here, those of you who aren't online, in the front of my little pink Bible here, I have a list of the top 10 events that happened in my life. One of those things listed there was, of course, whenever I accepted Jesus. That was a top moment in my life. Another top moment and that was the top moment in my life. Let me be clear on that. That was the top moment, second to hanging out in heaven. That's my second. Within my list of my lifetime, of course, having my son, Christopher, was definitely life-altering, life-blessing. And then another time in my life, I would say that this listed there is when I knew that I found the one, right? The man,
right.
The one, the only Gregory Keith Birchfield.
Right.
And you know that feeling, right?
Right.
Because of Zachary.
Yes.
What's Zach's full name?
George Zachary Sloan.
George Zachary Sloan.
Yes.
So when she found George Zachary Sloan, and so, Gunner, we love Gunner. And when we met Gunner, he was kind of in a season of his life, not at a point where he was ready to get very serious about the young woman, but we're going to turn it over to my buddy G, and he's going to talk to you about God's timing and what that looked like for him. Be honest with us. I mean, because I don't think it was all just like sunshine and roses. It was like, oh no, this was the easiest time just to sit and wait. But go ahead.
Oh no, it wasn't. And well, me and Delene talked about it a little bit last week.
Yes.
I don't think you had gotten here yet, or Ronnie, but just talking about how hard it is to come out of a relationship, especially when you're older and you're kind of like, you're at the point where you're not really, you're
How old are you now?
30.
Okay.
30.
Now. But older as in like
Right.
when you're dating in high school.
Right.
It's like,
Right. I just want people to know how old you are.
You're
Yeah.
kind of getting into
All your friends are getting
You're
married.
not old,
Yeah.
but you're
Those,
you're getting to
Yeah.
the point where you're dating and it's like for a reason and not just being like, oh, I've got a new girlfriend.
Right.
I got a crush.
You've progressed from the, hey,
Right.
let's have somebody hang out. Let's go eat pizza together. So apparently pizza must be my favorite food. Like I say, I keep talking about it.
So when we started the podcast, you were in a relationship, a
I was in a
long-term relationship.
When we started the podcast,
Yeah.
I guess it had been 5.5 years into that. And then last year, so 6.5 years into that,
Right.
we ended things. And it wasn't like a big blow up thing where we ended things, but it was 6.5 years. After 6.5
It had
years,
ran its time.
if you're still kind of like, I don't know if this is the right move, then it's just really not the right move. Like I don't know how people will do it for 10 years and then get married. I don't know, but we just different viewpoints on life, different everything, and it was something where it was like, if this is going to go into marriage and especially into having kids and a family, like we're going to be raising kids 2 different ways, and like if we can't agree on like the most basic things, then we can't keep doing that. But that was hard to like. I mean, 6.5 years, I was trying to do it on my own for the whole time. I mean, it's not like 6.5 years in is when it started to be like, okay,
That was
I
my
don't
question.
know. Right. Yeah. It wasn't like, it didn't take me that long to realize. It took me that long to just finally say like, I can't just like make this happen like on my own. Like as much as I can try, as much as she can try, like it's just not meant to be.
Now, I know that one of the things that we talked about is we talked about the importance of having conversations with God about, and God again, let me say this clearly without stuttering over my own words, is God may not provide your plan the way you've got it written down or the way you think it should, but that shouldn't stop you from talking to God about that plan. And one of the things you said to me, because we were talking about some things with me and just my life, and you were saying, well, I prayed for my wife. I prayed for my future wife, who that was. And so you kind of laid that out in front of God about, here's what I'm asking you for, God. But then you said you just kind of stepped away from that and tried to do it on your own.
Yeah. I mean, that was something that I first like learned about when I was younger, when I first heard Dana Smith talk about like specifically, hold on, the lady that I'm talking about right now is asking me an important question. Give me a second.
Okay. All right. While he's doing his producer stuff, one of the things that we want to point out in the scripture is there's a good mix up in the scripture about God talking about future things, right? You look at the book of Revelation, the whole book is written about future. But the majority of the timing that God talks about, he's talking more about the present, the here, the now, than he is about the future.
And we can prolong the promises of God. God can have a purpose for our life, and we can prolong that if we're not obedient.
Correct. If we're not patiently waiting, if we try to take it into our own hands, then we can delay that blessing, delay that part from God. And so Gunnar, back from our commercial break, was talking about how that he had prayed younger, right?
Yeah,
about
but
the wife
and that
he wanted.
was so. Yeah, so when that happened, when I first learned about that, I tried to sneak one around God and just pray about the girl that I had a crush on when I was in middle school, and just be like, oh yeah, God, and just describe her and just hope that he would give me her. That didn't work, but it was after that last one ended. It was like especially so, 6.5 years, and it wasn't like we were high school sweethearts. It was like
Right.
this was later on in life. So now it's
Yeah.
6.5 years. Nothing. It's back to zero, back to square one, and I'm about to turn 30 at this point. Obviously, Jay's got 2 kids.
Right.
Lucas and Anna were about to have their kid pretty soon.
Had Lucas and Madison that had,
Billy,
yeah.
Lucas and Madison, everyone like everybody's having kids and been married for a while, and it's like I'm about to be 30 and I'm restarting. And at that point, I was kind of like, I just was like, I mean, whatever it is. First off, I was like, I'm cool if I'm just like the uncle to Grant and Gray. Like
Right.
that's fine with me at this point. Like I'm not.
They are precious.
Yeah, I'll just hang out with
Exactly.
them, and like, I mean, I hang out with them all the time, so
Right.
it's fine. And I was just at that point, and then I was like, I'm probably going to end up being like, if I do find someone, I'm 30, I'll probably end up being like a stepdad. Really wanted kids of my own. I was like, if that's what ends up happening, maybe I was meant to be a stepdad to a kid that didn't have a dad, whatever.
And can I interject something real quick?
Yeah,
If you're
go ahead.
listening today and you're 30, by no means are we saying 30 is old or end of the line. But when you are 30, and like you say, you see all of your friends that
Yeah.
are 30
Yes.
who are buying homes and having families of their own.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about. So
Have
if you're
been
listening, don't be
married,
like,
have been- yeah.
It's not like we're saying that you're old and you don't have time to fix this or to
Right.
allow God to work.
Right.
But as Gunner's testimony is that he's fixing to go through
This
and
is-
show you.
yeah.
Yes.
And this is his
Yes,
testimony
yes.
where he was and where he was expecting
Yes.
his life to be. If I were to look back
Yeah,
at
and
your,
that's the thing
your
too. I was
8th grade
expecting, like I
plans,
literally
you
said
know.
when I was in like high school, I'd already timelined myself
Yes.
out where
Yes.
I wanted to be married and I wanted to have my first kid by the time I was 25 because
Right.
that was like the age that my dad had me, and I wanted to be around his age, like when my kids were getting out of high school.
Because let's break it down, because your younger siblings, you're watching your dad break down
Yeah.
physically, right? He's got
Dad-
he's
yeah,
got
Dad-
to take
I mean,
some
with
ibuprofen
Parker,
after
when
he hangs
Parker
out,
was, like,
with Parker.
coming out of high school was like when Dad was coming out
Sorry,
of being
Craig.
able to play basketball with him without pulling a hamstring and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's perfect. Like if I have my first kid at this time and then my last kid,
Right.
whatever, around the same time that Parker was born, like I should be able
we
to
got this
hang.
timing
for-
It's
out.
not like
This-
you just woke up one day and said, "Oh my gosh, I've got to get busy." You had a timeline the
Yes.
whole
Yeah, I
time
had a
that
from
you
the
timeline,
had.
and
time
then
you
it-
were
and
a
it just-
young man.
Right. And just it didn't work out the way my timeline, and it was just like it was so frustrating because it wasn't like I wasn't trying and like
Right.
trying to do what I thought I needed to do to get to that point, but it just things weren't working out.
Well, and again, I have to applaud the maturity in with you and with the young lady who you were in this relationship with for so long. The maturity that both of you said, this is not going to move forward.
Yeah, it wasn't,
the
I mean,
way
it wasn't
the way
an
that
easy
we
talk.
and it
Right.
wasn't an easy talk. And I know that there was probably a lot of heartbreak, a lot of just what is going on in my life.
Yeah,
and
I mean, it's like
Was she at the same place you were?
not as like set as I was, but
Okay.
yeah. And but I mean, we agreed on things whenever we were kind of like talking
Right.
it through.
Yes.
I don't think she was as like I don't know set
Right.
in
Right.
the
Right.
idea like
Right.
I didn't really see where it could go at that point. But yeah, back to the like praying thing. Like after I was already talking about how I was like just kind of being like I guess I'm gonna have to end up like settling with whatever happens at this
Mhm.
point. Like it's not gonna be how I wanted anything, so it's just I'm just gonna let it happen.
Mhm.
So I went back to like I thought about it later and was like I need to pray about it. Like I need to get specific again. I haven't done that in a long time. Like I need to actually sit down. Like I still don't want this to just, like I said, like I thought I might have to settle. I was like, I don't really want to. I still don't want to settle.
Right.
I don't
Right.
like
Right.
no one does. So I was
Right.
like, I'm going to throw this out there, God. So like, here's what I want.
Mhm.
I don't want to settle, but like
Right.
I mean, praying for like specific looks, like attributes, specific like people in their life, friends, family, the way that handle like stressful situations,
Right.
like everything that I could think of that like I knew that like didn't work,
Right.
or things that I knew that I wanted, like anything that I could think of. And
Right.
it was like, it wasn't one prayer. It was like, I would think of something else and be like, and then I would pray and add this on. Like, here's another thing for the list, God. Like, I thought about
Here's
this.
the other thing, God.
Right.
Here's something else I've added. And let me ask you this: in the 6.5 years, did you feel that you were still being faithful in your walk with God? I mean, I know that you always believed in God. You always had God in your life, but was there a break in your commitment to serve Him?
Yeah, I wasn't like, I mean, I didn't like step away, but I wasn't in it either. But there was also, that was another thing that I had prayed for too, is to have somebody, because it's not that I'm just kind of like on my own. I mean, you guys know that I'm pretty laid back. Like on my own, I'm just not really gonna.
You want somebody to motivate you?
Yeah, just somebody that just like to motivate me and to just, give me, if someone else wants to, then I'm gonna like just gonna make me think about stuff more. And it was just like, I need somebody to help me like stay on track without kind of zoning out.
And that's every person.
Right.
I would say, yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Every person.
That's all of us. And and again, we were. This was probably a year and a half, maybe
June
into us doing
we,
the podcast.
Yeah,
right.
June,
so
it was literally like a year ago, like a week ago, which is
okay,
crazy, but
okay,
a week ago. It had been a year since we had broken up.
So what was the turning point where you said, okay, today's the day? Had you been having a conversation with God and you were like tired of having this conversation with yourself in your head? What was the turning point? Yeah, that you said, okay, I got to do something different.
We just, like, we had a fight, talk, whatever.
Very nice young lady.
Yeah,
we're not speaking negative about that anyway. We're talking about you. You're part of this.
There's no like.
Right.
At least for like on mine, I have no like ill will or like anger or whatever toward. I mean, I had to happen.
You didn't cheat.
So.
She didn't cheat. It wasn't anything like that.
Right. There wasn't a compatibility there. And again, forgive me for this reference, but I got to throw in awkward references every once in a while. But Garth Brooks, sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers, right? And I love that song. I enjoy his music.
I think about that a lot,
but
too,
I love that song about how many times and the song premise is, he went back to a high school football game and he found his high school sweetheart who he thought God had intended for him, only to find out, no, it wasn't. And he said, he had to stop and say, wow, look at how God did show up in my life, and thank God for those unanswered prayers. And so, and I'm not, again, this is Gunner's testimony. Right. Beautiful, beautiful young woman.
We just can't be quiet. We got to be quiet, letting him.
But the reality of it is that this was not a relationship that either of you looking in the future was something that was going to be. It was
not,
and it was not a God honoring relationship.
And I told her, like, we are like, if we do end up getting married, if this does go, like, we're gonna get a divorce, because like once we there's things that we like believe separately on, that are things that like we cannot be married and disagree on, like we can't. And I was like, I don't want to get into this knowing that that's what's going to be our future, because unless something like drastically changes, which it's like, it can, but at the core of it, and especially if like, anyways, I'm gonna go on past that.
So
basically,
June
we had a talk. We had
June
a talk.
2025.
Yeah, we had a talk. Very heated debate, I guess. I don't know, whatever. But it just kind of made me like look and think like how. Basically, the gist of it is, if I have a daughter, like, she's going to grow up being terrified to be alive, because like everything that you believe is that women are like literally just deers in the woods waiting to be shot. Like it's just a terrifying experience for a woman to grow up believing. And I'm just like, I don't I started thinking about that, and it was just like, well, our kids, like how we're going to be teaching our kids. And yeah, it was basically at that point, it was kind of like we sat down, had the talk, and it was just like, this isn't going to run its course.
Yeah.
Right.
So
and if we had her sitting here today, she would say you believe things that she didn't believe.
That's
the
right.
same.
That's right.
Right.
You know,
That's
the
right.
same thing.
Yeah, that's what we talked
Yeah.
about. It was like you don't believe the same thing
Right.
that I believe, and I don't believe the same thing you believe. Like it wasn't like I'm right, you're wrong. It was just like we don't at our core believe.
Well,
the same
and I
things.
think that's a good differentiator, because I would have to say, if I was being just straight up, and I know y'all are going to be shocked about this, as well my listeners, that Greg and I don't agree on everything. I know everybody,
But the core values,
but
you
the
do.
core values,
Yeah.
that's right. At the core values,
Yeah.
and there was things we agreed on.
Yes.
Like it wasn't like we
Yes.
couldn't agree on what to eat for dinner
Right.
or whatever. But
Right.
it was like
right.
the core
Right.
things, the things
Right.
that were going to define the way that we live the rest of our life were
Yes.
were
So
different.
you wake up, you're 30,
Yeah, no.
Not yet. He's
Oh,
not
not
30
30
yet.
yet.
Not 30 yet.
coming up on
June,
30.
Birthday's in October.
Yes.
June.
Okay.
Close.
The rest, the rest, the
knocking
next
on the door.
whatever
Right.
4 months is just like, or 3 months, 3.5 months, whatever it was just like me just kind of sitting back and being like, I'll see what comes my way. And I wasn't like,
Did you turn it over to God, you think?
yeah, and I wasn't, that was my thing. I wasn't like actively trying to find someone else and move on to the next thing. I was just kind of like prayed about it and was just like, I'll see what comes up. But like, I'm cool with,
Man, if
I'm
we could
cool
all
with
be
just
like
hanging
that.
out. Yeah, it was,
If
it
we could all
wasn't
be like
easy.
that.
It wasn't
Yeah.
easy,
I'm
but
going to love this note. One of the notes that I wrote today in trying to prepare, as I said, while we're chasing for the perfect answer tomorrow, we sometimes miss what God is calling us to today.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're talking about that, then all I hear you saying is, I was looking for this perfect answer, this perfect solution, this perfect, and God just brought me back to the timing to say, just focus on today, Gunnar. Just focus on today, and let me worry about your future. And that took a lot of courage on your behalf. I know that, during part of the podcast this year, we did the measure of a man, and, your conversation with the young men that we had in that and studying that, about what God is wanting men to be in a marriage, what God is asking men to be. And so I love that in this timing, you even slowed your thought process down. You even kind of threw your plans to the side,
Right.
and said, okay, God, no, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you with my today, with my tomorrow, God. I'm just turning it over to you.
And everybody's been where you are, whether it's waiting and praying about a job, a relationship, a financial miracle, a financial breakthrough. Everybody's been where you are. However, I don't think that everybody has waited with patience like you have. And
At
I
least
have
on the
that on
outward appearance,
right. And I
At least
have
the
that
outward
on my
appearance.
notes here. And there's been times in my life where I've not waited with patience.
Right.
That is not my greatest virtue. So when I look at you, we did watch you through this wait with patience. And that's one of my things on here that I wrote when I wasn't even thinking about this, as what can we do when we're waiting on God's time? And it says wait with patience.
Yes.
And so, and we did watch you do that. And you could have rushed it. You could have went out on
you guys
your own.
rushed it more than I did.
Well, move on to the story.
We just
I'm just going
I
to
don't
say.
think we rushed it.
Now, Gunnar, during this time that we started the podcast and Gunnar is in this relationship, he has a mama and daddy who has prayed for him,
Yes.
covered him
Yes.
with prayer
Yes.
from the time before he was a baby
Yes.
till every day of his life. I mean, prayer warriors.
Yeah, I
Then
can't sit
we
down and
came
say
in
that I
and
just
kind of just, we were like, okay, God, we know his mom and daddy's got this covered,
Right.
but we're just
We
going
just-
to,
Well, I think
we just
mom and
go-
dad were just praying in general and just being like,
we were very
find the one.
specific.
You guys were like, you guys started getting
We-
pretty specific
Well, we
with
start.
We were very specific.
Okay, so if they haven't heard that story,
tell her
Well,
real
we're
quick.
getting there, right?
You tell. No,
September.
you guys tell. I don't
Yes.
I don't
Okay,
remember it. So you guys
September.
I don't remember
Well,
when you were asking me about it the other day.
Okay, so September of 2025.
Is that when we went to the thing?
That's when we went to the weekend
Yes.
retreat, and y'all are going.
The three of us
Jennifer
were
and I
at.
went to the weekend retreat, and then Gunnar showed up in the time that we were supposed to have our dialogue with the audience, and we were doing a quote live podcast just with the audience there, and Gunnar, the big joke that we had is here's Gunnar showing up at a women's weekend retreat.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a men's weekend retreat going on at the same location where we are. And Gunnar walks into the building
Through
where
the
all
men.
the women are, through the men. And I'm sure those men are going, what's he doing? Does he not know he's not right? That's the women's
Well, I remember
retreat
thinking
side.
that. I didn't know that there was also a men's retreat.
Right.
And I was
There's a
like,
men, and you're like,
guys
what are they doing?
here?
Yeah.
And so Gunnar is the only man at this retreat, and he's up on stage with us, and we're getting ready to set up for the podcast and do this. And
God answers our prayers when we just kind of throw things out there. Now, we had been praying for it. It wasn't a new prayer.
Yes.
But he didn't know we had been praying for it.
And we had joked and said, Sissy and I had joked and said, I wonder if there is a young lady here who might be someone good for Gunnar.
But we were like, but we put it out there and we said, listen, ladies, do not come up to him. We have got a lot of mamas, don't be coming up to him trying to get your daughters with him.
Yes.
Because we have got a lot of prayer invested in him.
That's
and they
right.
have to go through us to get
Exactly.
to him.
We had a little questionnaire. We had
We were
basically
like,
an interview form.
don't be using this weekend as an opportunity for
Exactly. Do not be coming up. You got to clear clearance. You can probably see the president quicker than you could have gotten access
and
to
then we
Gunnar
said something,
with us
I don't know
sitting
what
there.
led to this, but from that conversation, we said Gunnar's going to be married by the end of the year.
Yes.
And he said, wait, by the end of this year, because it was October.
And this is
You
all
said
live.
you
in
said
this
I was
podcast.
going to find a wife before the end of the year,
Okay.
and I said
Yes.
be married by the end of this year.
Yes.
And,
And
you're
she
we just said find a wife.
so she speaks
And
it
I said, well, maybe
so-
next year. I said, we'll give it till next year.
Sissy speaks this out in the middle of the conference. We're talking about Ecclesiastes, right?
Yes.
This was when we were talking about Ecclesiastes, and that about when you're intertwined with with the chords and the book of Ecclesiastes. And so we're talking about that. We're talking about how that we're bound together. And Jennifer said, well, I'm just going to say it out loud. Gunnar, he's going to have a wife. Now, don't you ladies get any ideas? If you got daughters, there is a process. There is a questionnaire. We will require blood samples. And then she just spoke it out loud. And she said, by the end of this year, and Gunnar's like, what? I'm sorry. You mean by the end of 2025, I'm going to be married?
And
we were like-
we just kind of kept moving. We were like, yes.
we were like,
yes.
yeah, that
And then I
sounds
said-
reasonable to
Yeah.
me. He was not dating anyone at this time.
We were like,
there were
find
no
a wife,
prospects.
but then get married by next year. That's how we ended it up.
That's where we ended up. We thought about it. And we were like, okay.
And then we looked at each other and we were like, I love the faith that he has in our prayers.
I know he does, because he's like, well, okay. There was no argument
He's like,
from
okay.
him. There was none of this. So that was September of
It made me nervous.
2025.
Like, oh my gosh.
So now let's roll a little bit forward to
like a month forward.
a month forward.
Okay. And what happens?
Huff, huff.
Which
Huff, huff.
I have told
Don't leave me hanging.
I have told this story on the podcast,
Thank you,
but on our year in review. But
Right.
that is when I met Mackenzie Elizabeth Proctor. Let me do the
Yes.
full name. Let me drop the full name.
Kenzie.
A super
You know
cute
her
story.
now because she shines everywhere that she walks with
That's
her.
right. She walks around and she's like, hello, have you seen this ring on my finger?
She's shining.
Yeah, she got herself a little rock, but we started, which I'd been praying and been pretty specific on what I was praying, and then I'd seen her much later after praying for those things and been like, obviously attracted to her. I mean, it was everything that I prayed for in looks, at least, and it was like, okay, I like her. She's pretty, whatever. And then hit her up, like, let's hang out sometime. We did. Had a good time. I was like, she actually talked my head off from like.
I remember you saying you liked her, you like going out with her because you didn't have to entertain.
Here's
and
another
she talked to
here's another
everybody.
God timing thing. literally my last day. So my last day at my last job was Friday, whatever. The day that was my last day because I thought I was starting my job the next week.
The new job, right?
Yeah, and there was some things that had like
Paperwork or whatever.
yeah, some stuff that they had to go through that I couldn't start that Monday. I was going to have to start a week later. So I had a week between where I had the week off. Well, that Monday happened to be the day that me and Kenzie hung out for the first time. And now she works in Brentwood, so she's like, I have to go to bed. I'm in bed at 7:30 on the nights where I have to work. So like we can't. I was meeting her after work to go get coffee, and we're gonna ride around, see if there's any Christmas lights, whatever. There wasn't any. We just drove around some dark neighborhoods, being like, "Dang, this stinks." But we met up, and she's like, "I have to be back at my car at like 7:00 or whatever." And I'm like, "All right, that's fine."
And you're just driving around?
Just riding around, just talking. And which I probably, just like this podcast, I did not talk that much.
Okay. Well, don't tell us the personal conversations that you
I'm not
had.
going to tell what
Okay.
all we, I mean.
Unless you're just like an open book.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't talk about anything. She talked, by the way, have to be back at her car at 7. We didn't leave until like 1:30 a.m. And I'm like, you've
missed
have
that
to
deadline.
be up in like 2 or 3 hours.
She's like, well, I might as well just stay up then. Might as well just stay up and keep talking to you.
Yeah, and she was talking. And I was like, this is awesome, first off, because like that is one of the things I prayed for. Like I wanted someone who was like talkative, and like there was a lot of things that I prayed for that God gave me in Kenzie that was what I asked for, and he gave it to me in abundance.
So when after you're married 20 years and you say, Kenzie, I just need a minute, she can say, now listen, you asked for this.
You asked for this.
Oh, she's already. I've told her a lot of the things I asked for. She's already.
Can we go through that list again?
Don't tell me to be quiet.
Can we go through that list one more time?
Yeah, I prayed for like her to have like a big friend group, and she's got like the very first, like I just met her, and then I had to go to like a Friendsgiving and meet.
I remember you had to cook something for that, I think.
I had to cook something, like 20 or 30 people, meeting them all for the first time. Girls are different than guys. They like, for guys, like if you bring a girl in, we're just like, oh, hey, yeah, and we like you.
Right.
Girls, you have to like win over.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was,
and again,
it was
especially
scary.
if they are, as a boy mom, we become very protective over our young cubs. And so you want for someone who you feel like is going to be compatible with them, but it's also going to be compatible with their friends' friends, because you want that relationship to continue, right? You want, you've got a very strong friend group, and so you wanted her to be able to fit in, maybe not be the right choice of words, but you want her to be able to be a part of and want to be a part of that group.
That last part was more of the main thing, was just wanting to be like, I wanted her to have a big friend group because I didn't want her to always rely on me to be like to be around. Like if I wanted to go hang out with my friends, or if I needed to go do something, I didn't want her to feel like she had no one else.
Right. If you had disc golf to go and play,
then
which
she
and now every other week when I
now.
see you at Jay's house, I'm like, where's Kenzie? You're like, oh, she's on a trip with her friends.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, she's the one leaving me. That's another thing where I was like, I'm praying for this, so this, and then it's like just swings the other way. Now I'm the one that's getting left all the time. I'm like, oh man, that's her hang out with Jay. But I mean, we had the year-end podcast, so everything up to like the end of December we basically talked about. But I knew pretty quickly on that, like, I wanted to marry her because of the things that I had prayed for. And I mean, every detail, like there wasn't one single thing that I'd prayed for, even things that I prayed for that I was just kind of like throwing it out there and being like, there was some things that I prayed for where I didn't actually sit down and like,
you just said
start talking to God. Just kind of thought to myself and being like, if you hear this one, like this would be nice, but I'm not going to pray about it.
And here's what I love, and this is why we shouldn't take it. We shouldn't take it for granted when the Bible says that and it's mentioned more in when you're crying out to God and maybe you don't have the right words, but that you have an intercessor who's praying on your behalf. And so I think during part of that time, whether you were able to articulate it or not, you had an intercessor who was praying on your behalf, knowing what was in your heart and praying on your behalf. The Holy Spirit, so we're talking about praying on your behalf to God and saying, hey, God, this is, that this is, Gunner's heart. Where
and I
where
learned
he
too,
is.
like
He's your son.
as we started hanging out and dating and stuff, like I learned too that she had also done the same thing. Like
I was about to say, yeah.
she was praying, and she was praying specific things, and she was praying for all these. I mean, she literally had like a list that she had made probably when she was in high school or something. Like she had like actually prayer journals and stuff like that. So she had things that she had specifically prayed
We're
for.
going to have so
and
much fun with her wedding vows.
Yes. And I remember when we went to church with her.
Yeah, we went to a generation.
We met her at a wedding.
We met her at a wedding. We met her at Anna and Jackson's wedding.
But then we went to church with her.
And again, she was very, I was like, whoa, okay. This young woman is remarkable. I mean, she's just like.
And at this time, we're not like clapping our hands. Like, no. We're like, no, this is kind of fast.
This was.
Even though we prayed for it to be fast, this is kind of fast.
Y'all got amnesia real quick.
This was Gunner. He's like, hey guys, Kenzie's going to come to the wedding with us. Are you guys going to be there? We're like, well, yeah, of course we're going to be there. And we're like, okay, so he's met this young woman, and boy. She sat down and she talked to us, and people have said that I'm not the easiest person to carry on a conversation with. I don't know why. Y'all don't seem to have a problem with it.
I don't think anybody's ever said that.
But
I think they mean that they don't get to talk too
they
much.
Can't
Maybe
get a
that's
word.
It. Maybe they don't get a word in edgewise. But we're sitting there, and this young woman, wow, she did get a word in edgewise. I could not get a word in edgewise with this young woman, and I thought, wow, isn't she fun? Isn't she a little sweetheart? And again, not thinking there's anything really not serious with you guys, and then fast forward.
But when we went to Generation Church, what got me was she was sitting beside me, super sweet, friendly.
Yes.
Her Bible was more used than mine.
Yes.
So it's like she's sitting there taking notes the whole entire time, and not that I think that for any reason she wouldn't, but I look at her Bible, and her Bible is like very well worn.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, that says a lot. That says a lot.
We want our children to be wed or joined together with someone who has that foundation, has that belief.
So where are we at now, Gunner?
So this is December, end of year.
We'll move up to. I don't know. Not
also as part of you were also praying for a new job at this time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You were wanting a new job.
Like everything hit at once.
Yeah.
It was
Because you had really been praying for that too.
It was a wild week. It was just everything that I was praying for.
They say a lot in Revelation. It
once.
talks about our prayers in heaven go into a prayer bowl. That's why sometimes one week when the prayer bowl will dump in our favor, that maybe bam, 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 a lot of our prayers get answered at the same time.
It did that week for sure. And it's also nice. Cullen McCormick, best friend from childhood, but he's up in Alaska now. He was also in town that weekend, and I guess it was for Thanksgiving, but he had come down that weekend, so he got to actually meet her. Like the second time we hung out, I was with Cullen and his friend from Alaska, and we were hanging out. We were heading back to his mom's house, and Kenzie happened to be like eating at Agave's with her friends. And I was like, we're coming through Westmoreland. Like, if you want to hang out, come hang out with us. If not, it's cool, whatever.
Right.
Well, she ended up coming. We met up with her, picked her up. So she got to meet Cullen, like, right off the bat, which he's rarely down here. So that was another just, like, crazy coincidence. And then we ended up hanging out. We actually was out the whole night. Like, I saw the sun come up, hadn't slept yet. Hadn't done that in a long time, but we were out playing music.
Because he's almost, at this point, he was 30. So,
I was 30 at that point.
Those of us who are closer 30 and a little bit older.
And it was just, like,
we don't stay up that late.
So all of you guys, with him coming in town, y'all were singing playing
we
music,
played
just
music,
hanging out.
and it was just a fun time. And like, I wasn't nervous about like her meeting him or anything, but I just obviously I wanted everyone else to like her too. Like I knew that I liked her a lot after we first hung out, but it's like, what if other people like, and so
because your friends are very important to you,
yeah,
and you
at
wanted
that
to make
point,
sure
she hadn't met.
Yeah.
Cullen was the first friend she met of mine, so I was like, I don't know, I wasn't really worried about it, but at the same time, I was worried about it. I didn't know, and like she gets in the car and like sits down next to his name's Hamish. He's also from Alaska, and like I just met him that night. That was the first night I met him. She sits down in the back with him, turns around, and just starts talking, and like and I was like, okay, like this. I was worried about her being nervous to like meet my friend. She'd already talked to this guy more than I had yet. At this point, I'm like, well, I still want to hang out with him. I want to talk to him too. Like, but yeah, it was a crazy week with just everything happening at once. But I don't know. Probably in March, I think, is when I actually like we talked about it, and that we wanted to get married and all this
5
stuff.
months.
And like this was very early. We went out one day and like went and looked at rings and stuff, and was just kind of like looking at things she wanted, and she told me all this stuff that she wanted, and I had where Parker bought his ring for Alyssa. I just had that girl sent her everything that Kenzie wanted, and had her made a ring up, and that was in March, and she said it would be 8 to 10 weeks or whatever it was. I ended up getting it like end of May, early June, something like that, and then we got engaged last week. But it was, I mean, people always say when you know, but and I don't know if you really know when you've been specifically praying for those things, and then you see every one of those things like a list being checked off, like every single thing. And it's like, there's so many things that happen where it was like, this can't be anything else. Like this is only
not a
be
coincidence.
Yeah.
This is God.
There was certain things where it's like, certain things that she had where I prayed for where it could be a coincidence, especially like looks. Like if you're praying for looks, it's like, well, that's also what you're going to look for in someone anyways. But like emotional attributes and like the people around her and stuff, like those are things that you can't manufacture yourself. Like if it's something that I prayed for and all of those things happen, it just literally cannot be anything but God.
And the fact too that it wasn't just you praying to God about your spouse; she was also praying to God about
and that was another,
spouse.
and that was. I mean, us talking about that when I was first kind of talking to her about like the things that I had prayed for and all that stuff, and then she started talking to me about that. It was like that was just kind of a confirmation thing where it was like, it already couldn't be a coincidence, even if you had never prayed for anything. Like, it couldn't be a coincidence what I prayed for that you checked the boxes on, but you're also doing that for me. So like for two things that already can't be coincidence to also fully mesh together is like, it's just beyond. So there was there's just no doubt at that point where I was like, I'm not waiting around. Like I'm not going to sit around and
once
wait
you're obedient to God, then he can start working. But like we put the pause on when we're not being obedient to God. And you knew that God was telling you for a little while that you needed to end it.
There was.
And so once we are obedient to God, then that allows him to start working, because he's not going to overstep us. Will you look, Gunnar, before you move on one more time to James 1:4, and then I want you to finish up and tell us what happens, and then we're gonna we may have to save some of this for next week, Darlene.
Yep.
Yeah, we can do a part
into
two.
Bible study.
Yeah.
We'll take Gunnar's testimony, and then we'll roll into the actual Bible study. But let's go into James 1.
James 1:4 says, "Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything."
So if we wait the wrong way, pretty much we'll be miserable.
Right. While you're in James, go ahead and hit James 4, 13 through 15.
But if we wait in God's way, then we can rest in peace, knowing that He's got us.
James 4:13 says, "Now listen, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to this or that city, spend a year there, carry on business, and make money. Why do you not even know what will happen tomorrow? What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and vanishes. Instead, you ought to say, if it is the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that."
So back to, again, sometimes we're so anxious. We're so anxious about our future and our plan and what we had in our own mind that we're missing God showing up today and in the present, in the moment.
Right.
And, when you, and we'll get into a deeper dive of this in different scriptures and things like that. But, it's when you are able to just be in step with God and just seek His will, seek His holiness, seek to live the way He wants you to live. That's when the stressors of and the impatience of the future, that's where it just subsides, that feeling, right? It takes away that anxiousness that you might feel or that isolation that you might feel when you're able to step into just what's today, right? What am I doing today to live a holy life for God?
Gunnar, so get us up to speed. A week ago?
Yeah, well,
2 weeks?
2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
2 weeks
well,
ago.
it will be 2 weeks ago when this
2
comes
weeks
out.
ago. All right,
But
what happened?
a week ago,
Mm-hmm.
we did it.
You popped
She
the
said
question?
yes.
Yeah,
She said
I,
You popped the question.
I was nervous. I wasn't nervous to do it until I was walking up to do it, and then it was like, oh my gosh.
Oh, here it
what do I-
is.
Did you get down on one knee?
Yeah, got
Yeah,
down on
yeah,
one
yeah,
knee. Maybe I can pop
All those
some of the
pictures,
pictures up
are on our social media. I
Yeah.
shared them.
Yes, she did.
I took
She
it
did.
upon myself to share
Jennifer
his
shared it out there on the More podcast. And of course, I am delighted to say that she and I are going to be the flower girls at the wedding. I am tickled to death to be, I think I'll have to look up the Guinness Book of World Records to see who the oldest
I don't think
flower girl has
we
been.
would be it. We would be so cute, flower
It would
girls.
be so cute. I could drag you around in that little
He's
buggy.
over there cringing right now. Don't be
that
scaring
gray
I'll
him.
see what I can
Don't be
do.
Carries
scaring
Lucy
him.
in. I can throw you in that little buggy and I would gently roll you down the aisle.
So you can truly say she was an answer to prayer.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, 100%. I mean,
And what a story to tell your kids.
that's right.
yeah.
And so now that we've prayed for that, I'm not just saying us. I mean, your mom and dad, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm just saying we just spoke it out there one day. So how many kids are we speaking out there? That's my question. We'll end on that. We'll end on that
We're going to
note.
end on that one. Tune in next time to find out how many children have we
Kenzie,
now
you want to know how many
spoken of.
kids you're going to have?
She's like, wait a minute, girls. I think I get to have a say in this.
I don't know. We'll see.
Y'all gonna make me have quadruplets or something.
I'm not saying all at one time, but funny you should say quadruplets because I was coming up I was already coming up with that number.
Oh my gosh.
At least I didn't go with the number of perfection that God has, which is the number 7.
7, yeah. Could have been 7.
So, anyway.
Gunnar has the patience for however many
He has
kids.
the patience, but he doesn't
I
have
don't know
the
if
money.
I don't
Doesn't
know
have
if his
the money.
hamstrings are going to hold out though.
Well,
Yeah.
This old man.
He's got Flower Girl over here. They got Aunt
does.
Flower Girl.
Well,
Aunt
again,
Flower Girl over
we
here.
are just so blessed to have just been on the outskirts of this journey with you. And again, it's hard. I think people handle.
I should have made
things
Kenzie come
differently.
today.
We'll get her one
We'll
day when
get
you're
her-
not
we're
here
gonna
to
get her
listen. Though
perspective. We're going to get her perspective
Okay.
on this.
you
Don't
can't
worry.
be in the room though.
That's fine with me.
Yes,
I'm getting the AC somewhere.
we're going to
Dripping over
We'll put
here.
you in the closet over
That's
here.
right. We get you in the closet, and he can jump out and say, "No, that wasn't the way it happened." But again, I think just what a blessing it's been in this journey with just to be a part of your life during this time, and just to watch you walk through those steps and watch you in your maturity with with God, and
Yeah,
you
and I
know,
wanna say
you've
too,
never
like, there was
walked away from God, but there's a maturity that has grown in you over the
Yeah.
past couple of
there
years.
was a lot of times, like, in past relationships and stuff where I thought that was the person I was going to marry, and I
Yeah.
thought, and things didn't work out, and it was
Mhm.
always just kind of like a why, like, why
Yeah,
didn't that work
yeah.
out? Why didn't that happen? Like, everything seemed so good. Everything
So
seemed
right.
like it was lining up
Yeah.
the way it's supposed to, and then it didn't work out. And it's,
Mm-hmm.
but then I look back now, and it's like, when I knew with Kenzie, it made me realize that it was like I thought that I was going to get married to this person. I thought that this was right. I thought, and like in my own mind and in my own my own timeline and stuff, I'd put this together and made it work and made it look like it was, like a perfect thing. And then it didn't work out. And then it's like with Kenzie, there was no like, oh, I think this is right. It's like I'd put
You already
in,
knew what wasn't right.
yeah, I'd
You
put
knew.
in the work with God, and also I knew what wasn't right. And it was like, when it happened, there was no questioning it, and there was no like second guessing, and there was no, I mean, what, 5 months in or whatever, buying a ring, like it was no,
Yeah, that's wild.
there was no hesitation. Like it wasn't, I'd hesitated on even all the ones that I thought, I'd been like, well, it's, I need to make more money, or I need to do this, I need to do that. And this time it was like, I don't care what, I don't care if I have the money, I don't care what happens, I'm at least getting this ball rolling. Like this, there's no doubt in my mind that this is the person I'm supposed to marry, because I prayed for this person. So it's, I mean, that's one way. They say, if you know, you know. That's one way.
So, what advice do you give our listeners if they're in the same situation you were in?
Pray about it. I mean, literally.
And be patient.
Yeah, pray about it. Pray specifically. Be patient. I'm not saying, I'm not going to say sit around and like this and just expect one to walk in the door, but I wasn't, I was basically sitting around, but it was just kind of like, he showed up and I was like, I mean, it seems like this is lining up to be something at least worth checking out. So I did, and it was really crazy. It was just wild. It was wild to see everything happen, and being like, it's just like
how
shell shocked. It was, it was like, it was so detailed. It wasn't even like, there's just no doubt. Like, I mean,
well, I think he loves her.
I'm pretty sure that
he loves her. After seeing that rock, I think he loves her.
As they say on Bambi, you're Twitter pated. She is Twitter pated, and there is nothing better than just two people who know that they are God's chosen couple, right?
So,
to
Gunnar,
come together.
When God's answered your prayer, then you, of course, can pray over somebody else. I mean, because God's answered your prayer, you have the faith. So we want you to pray over our audience, just for any waiting situation that they're in. But before we do that, can we end on? Can you say something funny?
Go ahead, no pressure, funny man.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Gunnar.
Go ahead,
just
funny
go ahead
man.
and say a prayer.
Nothing to smile about over here.
I'm surprised he didn't say my name. He missed that one, didn't he?
You missed that opportunity.
You get it next time, Gunnar.
Yeah.
I'll throw the mic at you again.
Yeah, I'll put that in my notes for the next episode.
Okay. See, we're funny. We are funny, Jolene.
We are. We find ourselves funny.
I mean, I look over there. He's rolling his eyes at us sometimes.
Exactly.
I think we're funny.
I think we're hilarious.
All right. Well, let's get serious, Gunnar. All right. We want to hear all the details from our listeners of God answering their prayers, because Gunnar's faith is fixing to mix with their faith.
That's right.
All right.
Let's go. When two or three agree together.
That's true.
Yep.
Dear God, I thank you for what you've given us here, this opportunity that you've given us to be able to spread your word and to be able to tell our testimonies and stories, God. And I pray that what I've said here today will touch somebody who is in that same situation right now. I thank you for your timing and the way that everything has worked out. God, if I did it on my timing, I would be in a much rougher spot today than I would be right now. And I pray that if there's someone out there listening right now who is just wondering how their life is going to play out and wondering why they're in the situation that they're in and why things haven't gone the way that they wanted them to go, that they can find peace in knowing that your timing is greater, and help them to have the courage to sit down and talk with you and to ask those questions and to give out the things that they want and to figure out where they want to go in life and to let you be a part of it, Lord. I thank you for everything that you've given us and for all the people that have prayed over me. And I just want the listeners to know that they always have someone praying over them too. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, again, we will continue this this topic on God's timing. We'll hit some scriptures next week in addition and some stories about that.
And thank you, Gunnar. You had no idea when we walked in here today that you were going to share your testimony.
Yeah, well, I definitely didn't mean to make it the whole episode, but
it was worth it.
It was worth it. It was good. That's right. It was good.
As Tim Freeman says, at least you let the boy talk,
right.
Darlene. He gets on to me all the time. He got on to me at the very beginning when we started this podcast a couple of years ago. And he said, my only complaint is, Darlene, you never let Gunnar talk. And so now I'm going to do a shout out for Tim Freeman. You better listen to this one, Tim, because this was Gunnar doing the talking during most of it.
Okay. So come back next week.
Yes.
And we're going to follow up and talk a little bit more about God's timing, because I think every single person can resonate with a waiting season.
Yes.
And can be encouraged through that.
Yes. Can I do a quick shout out? My Sunday, Gunnar was asking what we did on the weekend. On Sunday afternoon, we got to go and watch my great niece. She was baptized. They did this. She goes to Garrett's Creek Church, but they actually go into Kentucky to this little fishing spot in a creek, and they do their baptismal there. And so we were able to be there as a family, and my brother-in-law, her granddad, was actually in the water with her and standing there with the preacher when he baptized her. And so it was just a precious, precious Sunday watching this young lady just take that next step of faith and obedience to following God. So just a shout out to sweet Mallory and her walk. If y'all will please just lift her up in prayer as she just continues this journey walking in Christ. But a big shout out to her. It was a precious, precious moment.
Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure that was a beautiful day.
It was.
All right.
Okay.
We'll
Anything
see you
else?
guys. No, that's it, guys. We will see y'all next week.
Right.
Be safe. We love you. Have a good week.
We love you. Bye.